Welcome, everybody, to Trinity Continuum AETHER, our very first broadcast actual play of said game on the Onyx Path YouTube channel. Hopefully, this will be reaching you during the time when our Kickstarter is running. For anyone unaware, AETHER is a game set in the late 19th century. It is a time in the Trinity Continuum where certain individuals have gained access to a powerful stuff that allows them to shape matter, shape time, manipulate emotion, form, function, and forces. This material, this substance, this magic is known in the scientific and inventor community as AETHER. There are, of course, multiple societies and counter-societies at work in this setting. Some wish to use AETHER for benevolent aims. Some wish to use it for colonialist or nationalistic aims. Others have purely selfish intentions at heart. Most importantly, and the most pressing threat to humanity at this time is that with the discovery or invention of AETHER, depending on who you ask, the planet Earth appears to have drawn the attention of some of our galactic neighbors. Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla were among the pioneers that invented the AETHER gate. It allowed some of those intrepid pioneers to step through and onto the surface of the red planet, Mars. And what they found there was the ruin or the wreckage or perhaps just the dormant shell of another civilization. They didn't find any signs of life, but it didn't seem too far away. Whether it was that visit or other actions that drew the Martians' attention, we do not know. But what we do know is that within years of this discovery, there was an invasion from space, cylinders coming crashing down onto the surface of Paris, London, New York, Martian cylinders from which Martians emerged, started killing people with death rays, ensnaring them, capturing them, taking them back to who knows where. All kinds of experiments and battles ensued. That initial wave, some called it a scouting mission. Some claimed it was just testing the Earthlings' defenses. It put humanity on edge because AETHER is a clandestine science. While most people have now heard of the Martian attack, the majority do not know about AETHER. The scientists, indeed, who play around with this stuff have, well, quite rightly, started feeling like, well, if we do now start confessing that it's our use of AETHER that drew the Martian attack, well, we're probably going to be the ones blamed for it. So it's best to keep it on the down low. That means Aethernauts, the users of this science, are a clandestine group split across multiple societies, as mentioned. Our story takes place some months after that initial attack. It was repelled, at least we think so, and it takes place in a beautiful part of London known as the Crystal Palace. The Crystal Palace, which did exist in history, was a grand building set up for the purposes of expo. This was an era of the world exhibitions. They were taking place all over the place, some more famous than others. And in London, this took place in the Crystal Palace, what was essentially a colossal greenhouse. I can only imagine the unbearable heat of trying to operate in there while wearing a full frock coat, top hat, and the rest. But nonetheless, people did it because, ooh, what a wonder to operate in a building completely comprised of glass and iron and copper. But before we get into the adventure proper, we should introduce our characters and the people playing them. And I will allow all of them to do that themselves. So, but I will go to them by name. So let's start with Gilbert. Gilbert, hello. Tell us who you're playing and who you are.
Hello, I'm Gilbert. I'll be playing Neil Christie, both he and him. He's an intrepid reporter seeking fame. He's part of the, I knew I was going to butcher this, Her Royal Highness's Planetary Defense Pact, otherwise known as the HRH-PDP.
That's right. And by all means, tell us about yourself, Gilbert.
I
Not to put you on the spot.
No worries. I am Gilbert Ramos. I do a lot of stuff for Onyx Path, just like playing games and such. I am graced with the opportunity to write sometimes. I play games over on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/rolling nomads. Is where you can find me and all of our stuff. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I've been on vacation for like a week. That's all I got so far. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. How about you, Kim?
All right. Today I'm playing Brooks Hare, ex-military turned monster hunter, as part of the Society for the Opposition of Monsters, going forth and hunting, trying to stop the scourge of the Magogs running around the world. So he's trying to find a new sense of purpose after military life. But of course, I'm Kim. I worked on this book, so I'm really excited. I actually worked on the Society, so it's really cool to see them in play by people instead of in my head and throwing darts at a wall. But yeah.
All right, lovely. How about you, Travis?
Sure. I'm Travis Legge, he, they. When I'm not running games here, or playing in them. Thank you, by the way, for letting me be on this side of the screen. I appreciate it. I write them as well. And today I'll be playing Orrin Clark. Orrin Clark is a member of Edison's Unwinders. They're very excited to see the exhibition of Edison's. And as near as I can tell from his character description, he's a kinder.
So we'll want to stomp on him until the oxygen has left his lungs.
I'll do my best not to play up the worst stereotypes of those characters in this session. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great deal of fun. I had the pleasure of working on this book, but I don't think any of the material I worked on will be making its way into our hands in this playtest. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And Danielle, last but by no means least.
Hi, I'm Danielle Lauzon, she, her, and I will be playing Ava McGrath. And Ava is a wealthy socialite. She's come from a place of privilege all her life. She probably is not familiar with what it's like to be a working class person in any way, shape, or form. She is a member of the Esoteric Order of the Ands. And she's here, being curious about literally everything on display because that's the way she is. Danielle, am a writer, author, developer for Onyx Path. So I wrote on this book. I don't even remember what I wrote. To be honest,
it was a very
worked on a lot.
assignment.
Yeah,
I think I wrote the setting.
You did. You wrote the world of Aether, but it's luckily I will be putting your words into action and reigniting the synapses in your brain that have somehow fused.
Well,
I do this
thing. Yeah, freelancer brain. I do this thing where once I've finished working on one project, I expel everything I knew about it that I can start working on the next project.
Yeah, I can't mock because I've worked for you on several Vampire the Requiem books, and I was recently asked about something I wrote for one of them, and I just looked at the other person utterly blankly. So I didn't write that. No, you did. You actually spoke about it in an interview about 3 years ago. What? That was me. So
are you sure?
Yeah, liar. I cuffed the insolent cur. So 1895, a time when cuffing people was far more acceptable than it is today.
So glad we're not actually there.
Yes. We join our protagonists outside of the Crystal Palace for a scenario entitled The Peculiar Death of the Irregular Inventor. My name is Matthew Dawkins, he, him, and the developer of Trinity Continuum AETHER, and I hope you enjoy this story. Some of our characters know each other, and some have worked together before. Some merely have respect across your field, or maybe even a rivalry. Before the expo at the Crystal Palace begins in earnest on this bright, sweltering summer's afternoon, there's tables, trellises set up with teas, clotted creams, scones, and jam for the well-to-do. This isn't an exclusively Aethanaut event. Again, this is a clandestine science. Most of the things being demonstrated here are beholden to the regular, understood laws of physics, chemistry, and biology. New medical apparatus on show, being a particular favorite. Some new inventions that have really rode the coattails of the Industrial Revolution that took place in the early part through to the mid-section of this century. This is now a time where such innovation is seen as somewhat on the wane, at least to the humble human eye. It's the Aethanauts who know that this era of invention is far from over, but they haven't yet explained to the world what they have at their fingertips. And maybe they never will. Our characters are there for, as we mentioned, various reasons, but primarily in the Prince Leopold Hall, which is a wing of the Crystal Palace, there is due to be a private expo for Aethanauts, individuals who have invitations or been invited by their peers, held by one Professor Chandler Quigley. An unusual man. None of you really know of him other than by some reputation. Quigley has something of ill repute about him. Some people consider him a snake oil salesman of an Aethanaut. Certainly, he isn't held in high regard as, yourselves, in fact, and you are just lowly squires on the hierarchy of Aethanauts, but still, Quigley has his detractors, but claims to have an invention that will turn Aethanaut societies on their heads. And so you are gathered here outside the Crystal Palace, enjoying your teas, greeting each other as you approach. This is a good time for you to get to know each other in character and explain some of what you're hoping to find here, some of what you're hoping to see. So go ahead, take it away, whichever one of you wishes to lead.
Oh man. Neil.
Well, no, that's a good. It's good that you mention it, Danielle, because Ava, you happen to know most of the people who are here.
Right. Neil, it's so glad to see you here today.
It's good to see you as well. How have you been?
Oh, I've, just doing as well as I can, exploring and taking note of new inventions here today.
Of course, as we all are.
Are you looking forward to seeing anything in particular?
Just here as a whole, honestly. Everything here seems so interesting. Nothing springs out, but nothing is eluding my interest though either, if that makes any sense at all.
I am most interested in what Mr. Quigley has on display today. I'm very interested in what he thinks could turn everything on its head.
What exactly is he displaying today?
I don't know.
I wasn't able to.
That's there's a mystery. It's some new invention that he's going to be unveiling. I couldn't get any more information than that about it.
Neither have I. That's the strangest thing. Has been kept quite under wraps.
Oh,
excuse me, sir, madam. Can I introduce you in? Can I interest you? Sorry, I'm so overwhelmed today. Look at that, a penny farthing. Ding ding. All these inventions. I understand someone here has a velocipede. But I get away from myself. Can I interest you in some Victoria sponge named after the the queen herself, freshly baked.
Of course, thank you.
Absolutely.
And another round of teas, perhaps.
Yes, please, please.
Of course. Yes, thank you.
It would be a pleasure. Off he saunters.
Is that Brooke's hair I see over there? Brooks, dear, come over here.
Brooks stops smoking and walks over and comes over. Hello.
Brooks, dear, lovely to see you here.
How are you, Miss McGrath?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Good. The winds are on my favor.
Glad to hear it. And do you have anything you're interested in seeing today?
Well, hopefully, what Mr. Quigley has to show us isn't going to be opening a hell pit, but you can only hope. You never know with these things. Hopefully, it'll give us something more that we can use to fight the Magogs.
Oh, but wouldn't that be so interesting if it opened a hell pit? Anyway.
Overhearing that as he passes by, Orin Clark talking by like Nosferatu.
I was going to ask two things. One, would it be possible that because I do tend to move the way I tend to move, that they just don't notice me sitting at the sitting at their table until I speak up?
I think that would be eminently suitable.
And secondly, I'm going to pull out like a notebook and like slap it down on the desk and say, "Damn it, wrong hotel room." I was trying to get a hold of Quigley's agenda before this, but this is just apparently love letters from some extramarital. I mean, it's some kind of steamy stuff, but it's not what I was looking for, is my point. I flipped the notebook shut and put it in my pocket.
You stole that from somebody's room.
Yes, the wrong room apparently. So I'm going to have to double back and steal back my tip from that doorman who shouldn't be a concierge, honestly, with that level of customer service.
What?
Your cake, madam.
Thank you.
The waiter looks over Orin's shoulder briefly, and his eyebrows disappear into his hair like, good Lord.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry about that. I shouldn't have this out in polite company.
I thought
you pilfer from people's underthings.
Yes, I thought I saw an illustrated ankle.
Well, I mean, I didn't pilfer. I pilfered through the desk. I mean, I'm a respectable miscreant, but
a gentleman thief.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, I'd hoped to get a little insight into what was going on. So, do anybody got any clues, ideas, thoughts?
Does anyone here know this man?
That's a good question. Anyone who wishes to, and by all means, I recommend people with decent ratings in these, can roll a culture or science plus intellect and see what you get.
Oh, man.
See what you know.
Definitely not Brooks. He's more of a punchy. A punch it now.
You use Aether to enhance these. Not that.
I cast Fist.
You know what I did? I showed up at a game and I don't have dice, so I'm going to have to use a dice roller on the internet.
Go for it. Google will do you just fine if you say roll XD10.
Target roll is an 8, correct?
You are correct, sir.
All right.
And we are reroll 10s because we're playing Trinity Continuum, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
1 success. I'm not sure. I'm positive that gets me nothing, but
we shall see. 2 successes.
2 successes. Well, in that case, between the two of you, and Danielle, did you
I got two successes.
2 successes. Okay. Well, all right. Then in that case, you know a bit more than initially. Neil, as we've already ascertained, you've already heard that Quigley is seen as something of a charlatan by most members of polite society, most Aethernauts. Experiments without limit or license. What the other two of you, what Oren and Ava know of Quigley or have heard on the grapevine, is that he was a member of the Students of Tesla Society. One of the very first, of course, but he was removed for suspected ties to Martian sympathizing groups. None of this was ever proved. It's quite possible he was stuck with the label because he is also a snake oil salesman and general cad about town, but certainly it hasn't helped his reputation any. Most of the people who are attending here are probably doing so more out of morbid curiosity than general belief that he has something revolutionary to show off.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this is going to be kind of a spectacle. Mostly,
one way or another.
Without a doubt, it seems this will be the gossip portion of the expose.
Well, good. I'm glad I traveled all this way to talk.
Well, it wasn't all for a loss. You have your pilfered notebook.
I do have my pilfered notebook. I wonder.
Oh my!
Your tawdry letters of.
I hear in America you
Painting
can make
business.
a lot of money publishing this sort of, I believe the term they use is smut.
From what I hear about America is they hand these things out on the streets.
I mean, it is a lovely, lovely place. You should come visit. I got a place in Wisconsin. I was born there.
Very nice. I may take you up on
You're a farmer. Well, the bell tolls. It tells you that the expo is open. The entrance of the Crystal Palace looms before you, ready to swallow you whole as you enter. You crane your necks to see the top of this massive structure of cast iron and plate glass, 3 times the size of St. Paul's Cathedral. It really is a marvel of engineering. Didn't require AETHER for its construction. Everyone around you buzzes with excitement, and inside the massive hall, devices whir, maps flutter, taxidermized animals silently pose. It would be a little more alarming if they weren't silent, but this is an era of invention. Maybe voice boxes, who knows? This section of the palace is wondrous, but it isn't why you're here. You have, as you know, come to see Dr. Chandler Quigley, or Professor Chandler Quigley. You don't really believe the title that he wears like a badge at any given time. And that his part of the expo is being held in the members-only Prince Leopold Hall. Quigley promised to dazzle all attendees with a spectacular new device capable of something revolutionary. The crowd flows around you, but your eyes are on the doors to the Prince Leopold Hall, flanked by 2 guards bearing the uniforms of the 36th Sikh Bengal Infantry Regiment. One checks your invitations as the other stares ahead, clearly on the lookout for anyone who may desire a peek inside this clandestine presentation. The hall, while still having a glass exterior, is somewhat ridiculously sealed off with these double doors. You could look in from the outside, but the glass is in many places marbled or frosted. You wouldn't be able to get a clear view unless someone started doing something absolutely extravagant, like blowing the walls up. Hopefully that won't happen. Well, time will tell. Parties go bad.
We'll see.
Oh, well. This place contains a lot of Aethernauts, many of whom you recognize, some of whom you don't. It's rare to see so many of your kind in a single location. quite frankly, it's dangerous. There's always someone who's willing to set off a device or show a new trick that they've learned, and pop goes someone's spleen. But hopefully in this case, people will be able to curb their enthusiasm for the Aether and watch whatever's going on. There's a bar, so you can nourish yourself despite the heat that is beating down through the glass above. And you can, in fact, see Chandler Quigley already doing the rounds, shaking hands, making nice. He's one of these people that when he shakes your hand, he shakes with one hand, then he puts his left on top of the handshake to really make you know that you're a friend. He trusts you, you trust him. Yeah, buddies. And maybe sometimes even goes in for a hug that is frankly unwarranted and undeserved. He looks every part a rich element of the snake oil salesman tradition. His red top hat, his waxed mustache ending in 2 points, both flared upwards. He looks every part of the devil in a bad disguise, playing the part of ringmaster and host. He's entertaining, but his attention is clearly distracted. He's excited about something. He approaches your group. The first person he sees, Ava McGrath. Miss McGrath. Oh, it's a pleasure. May I kiss you on the cheek?
I guess.
You feel his waxed mustache brush against you. He doesn't actually plant lips on you, but it's so hot in here that some of the wax just sort of gloops off.
Yeah, we do the fake mwah, mwah. Yeah.
Yes, you come away from it worse off than he does.
I want to make sure that I place myself like behind him over his shoulder so that she can see me take out that notebook and start writing notes in it.
I call him Mr. Quigley, refusing to use his professor title. Oh, Mr. Quigley. No. It's so good to see you here. Are you excited about your demonstration for us today?
I am. Oh, I think I'm going to blow everyone away with what I have. Can you
give us a little sneak peek or a hint of what it is you're going to show today?
As you're talking, can you make an empathy and cunning roll, please, Danielle?
I can try.
And while they're talking, I'm going to elbow Olive and say, I bet you 50p it's a trap.
Well, Olive is an NPC in this and agrees.
Brooks, I'm sorry. Not Olive, Brooks. I apologize.
Oh, yes, my lord.
Two successes.
2 successes, Danielle.
I'm going to start looking to see if there's another way out in case this goes south. Besides breaking through the wall.
That's actually it's a good call. So Danielle, you see that as he's talking to you, as you're talking to him more accurately, he just keeps looking up through the roof of this place towards the sky, occasionally squinting as if his mind is quite elsewhere. And then as you finish talking, he checks his pocket watch and looks back at you, gives you that cheese-eating grin. What was that?
Are you waiting for something?
Oh, just for my expo to begin, I need to wait for the captain of the guard to arrive. You see, the device I have on display is really quite something, and I fear being mobbed even by my respected peers such as yourself. I wouldn't want to cause a scene, which is why here he is. He points at the door. Neil, you recognize the man, Captain Kushwant Randhawa, a captain of retired, likewise of the Sikh Bengal Infantry Regiment. But most importantly to you, a member in good standing of the HRH PDP, who is flanked by several guards himself, clearly, Quigley has enlisted him and his services to act as bodyguards, though this is pretty heavy duty. Quigley continues. So you wanted a little sneak peek about what I've got to demonstrate?
Yes, if you're so inclined.
If I might take note for the paper as well, if the Professor Quigley, if that would be quite
well,
right.
You will find out soon enough. I have a device. I have worked on it for years, and it has now come to fruition. All my own work, I hasten to add, none of that students of Tesla nonsense. Capable of reversing any Aether-born mutation. So you have your Gogs, you have your Magogs, your Jekylls, your mutants with all their deformities and mishaps. My device can reverse all of that. I imagine that's grabbed your attention, Mr. Clark. You're an unwinder, aren't you?
Yeah, that's an impressive claim.
Well, tell Mr. Edison I'm not selling it, at least not yet. I want to get a scope, a field for the prices. For
this. I'm sure that'll go as well as the last 10 people I told that to.
Well, in this case, I don't think he's going to be able to make his own cheap knockoff. This is the real deal. Yes.
How long have you been experimenting with that?
Oh, years. It's taken a lot of planning, a lot of research in my private laboratory here in London.
Accidentally liquefy anybody, or like?
Oh no,
send them to Mars, anything like that?
Put them into a wall.
No. Listen, I must circulate, I must mingle, and I will do that. I need to be friendly with everyone here.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is stand around here answering awkward questions in front of a reporter. I understand completely.
Oh, I don't mind answering awkward questions, my dear boy, but I'd rather do it from on the stage, which is where I will be headed in, and he checks his watch, and he looks up again. Probably about 5 minutes. So find yourself seats, get yourselves drinks, talk to the others, make yourselves known, have a good time, and I will be speaking to you later. And off he slimes.
Yeah. Is anyone else?
Yeah,
unnerved.
It's a little strange, especially considering all of the sheep Bengal unit. We're in London. We should have more locals rather than people from the continent running around. It's really abnormal. I don't think this is where they're actually stationed.
That's because this is a trap.
Well, there's stories of an organization on the continent that kind of this is their thing.
Traps?
No.
Oh.
Reversing Magog transformations.
I mean, I've heard people trying it, but I mean, it just seems like, when you burn yourself, like you want to make sure you put medication on it and treat it, and not just, I don't know, rip it open and shove dirt in it. And it's a bad idea is what I'm saying. Like
interrupting your pleasant metaphor. Captain Randhawa strides over to Christy. Neil, Christy, what rank were you? By all means, make it up if it isn't specified.
In the society? Or?
No. If you're that would be Brooks. In that case, Neil, you're a member of the society. But Brooks, what rank were you?
Let's go with lieutenant.
Lieutenant, okay. Well, Captain Randhawa still gives you a salute, although expecting one in return, naturally.
Just sideways.
Mm-hmm. Randhawa is in. Oh, it would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Randhawa does return it with all grace. There's no disrespect there. And then turns to Christy, gives him a firm handshake. Christy, old boy, pleased to see you here.
How have you been?
Not at all bad.
It's a surprise to see you here, if you don't mind me saying.
Quigley pays well, and he's a genius, so I'm told. But importantly, he pays well. Covered myself and all of the boys. And, well, while we're waiting for the next attack...
We paid you well enough for all this. This is quite the show out, don't you think?
There's a 5-person bodyguard for a group this size, all of us practitioners. I would have expected an army of 50 to really secure the location. I think it's mostly for show. He asked that we all turn up in uniform. I'm still permitted to wear mine, despite my retirement, by Queen Victoria's permission. You do know Randawa as the Queen's man. He's in good with the monarchy. But he says, yes, I think he wanted the soldiers with the most extravagant dress uniforms, sharpest sabers, and generally to put on a show. But nevertheless, as I say, his guineas and sovereigns pay just as well as anyone else's.
Genius, inventor, and above all, showman.
Showman is correct.
Do you expect anything untoward?
From
off the record, of course.
Yes, from other members of other societies, jealous inventors. It's possible. We'll be up on the stage with him, or I will, certainly. I'll be there. The other bodyguards in the retinue won't be far on the edges of the stage. So if anything does happen, I'll be there on hand to stop it.
Very well. That's good to hear. I wouldn't be doing my own duty if I didn't ask for something on the record, though, from you, Captain.
Yes,
do you have anything to say about the expo so far? Perhaps something that you've been clued in on that we all haven't?
Well, on the record, Mr. Christie, I hate to sound terribly dull, but my mind is not on the wonders being displayed at the Crystal Palace today, but on the safety of my charge, Mr. Chandler Quigley.
The people read our paper. We'll be glad to hear it. Well spoken.
I'm sure the circulation remains small, Mr. Christie. So, Kim, you said Brooks was looking for other ways out.
Yeah, especially now that he keeps, our dear presenter keeps looking up. So it's like, oh God, is a Mothman going to drop through the ceiling, or some winged creature, winged Magog, to swoop down and lift us up, or like a Martian going to smash through. So yeah.
Why, Lieutenant Hare, I do believe membership in the Society for the Opposition of Monsters has made you paranoid.
Good reason. I'm still alive. That's why I'm paranoid.
That doesn't sound like paranoia. That sounds like just acceptance. There's a difference.
Can you make a survival and cunning roll? There is a complication attached to this, notably a drunk attendee who you haven't been introduced to yet is ambling towards you right now. So
the funny thing is, he doesn't have any survival, but he has danger sense, so he has a cunning of 1.
Is there
Let's do this?
any chance that I can intervene with the ambling drunk to lend my aid?
Yeah, certainly. Complications can be cancelled out if someone else is going to step in it.
I have 1 die
to
roll this.
Well,
that's fine. I'm gonna just intercept the drunk and be like, Bob, I haven't seen you since. Yeah, exactly.
Smash.
Bob, I haven't seen you since before the plague. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I got
hanging.
I got a 6. So I got a 6. So it's like,
Yeah, you're not spotting any other exits from the venue beyond the way you came in. Not too surprising. This is an enclosed greenhouse, but you know some of these panels come away. They're on hinges. It's just a matter of identifying which. And currently, this place is dressed as if to enclose everyone, which doesn't exactly help your paranoia. Your worries. The drunk young woman staggers into Orin, who intercepts her. Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, that's quite all right. It happens to me all the time.
Did I spill something on you? And she starts mopping your blazer.
Only a little bit of embarrassment got right here, but it's fine. I'll just put some soda water on it.
It happens all the time. It's these shoes. They make me spill things. I should get back to the bar and get you a drink as well.
You should definitely go back to the bar. That sounds like a great, responsible idea. I'm going to just turn on a heel and walk over. Walk over to Brooks and say, any luck? Do we have a back door?
No, it's all dressed up like a turkey. So.
And this guy who is known to have Martian sympathies keeps looking at the sky. He hired 5 personal bodyguards. I noticed the bodyguard said, his charge is that dude, which leads me to believe that if, say, tentacled creatures from beyond started ripping this place apart, he would be the main concern to keep alive, which leaves all of us not having awesome guards, which means I think we should sit by the door.
The heavily whiskered August Murdston bombasts his way through the crowd over to Orin Clark, gives you a brisk shake of the hand. He's a fellow unwinder. You knew he would be here. So what do you make of all this, eh?
Danger. Bad idea. Everything about this is bad.
Yes, I get the impression you may be right. You see, you don't put this many kooks in a cabinet without expecting something to go off. Right now, I'm expecting something bad. But I'm here to see if this invention's the real deal. I've heard tell of it. Reversing states, not one of ours, not one of our inventions. Very curious, very curious. I've been given permission by Edison himself to offer this Quigley membership in the Unwinders if he can prove that it does what it says.
Oh, that's
immediate membership, free without the upfront premium that the rest of us had to pay. What? That's a dash. Not a trifle, I should say.
No kidding.
That's one way to get hold of this. Get hold of the blueprint.
I mean, that is one way to get hold of the blueprint, but Edison must either really think that this guy can pull it off or really think that he can't.
Well, you know what old Tommy's like. He's
a monster, yeah, more.
Well, tight with his purse, but if there's if there's coin to be spent on a good invention, he'll spend the damn thing, even if it means doing business with someone like Quigley. So that's why you're here. That's why I'm here. We need to keep an eye out. Does it do what it says? If it does, then, well, we're very interested in this Quigley fellow and his invention. If not, let's make our way back to a better pub than the ill-stocked bar in this place.
I agree, but I also have concerns that we're going to be dealing with a little bit more than an invention that doesn't work. So keep on your toes.
I will.
Well, maybe not the only one, but for him to prove that this thing works, wouldn't he need a Gog or Magog here in this space to try to turn?
Too true. That's what we're wondering is behind the curtain on that stage. Is there going to be something chained up, a snarling beast in a cage or something like that? Could be dashed unpleasant, but at the same time, very interesting.
I'm going to look up to the sky. Is there anything I can see up there?
It's a clear day, not a cloud up there, just the sun beating down. Now, I'm going to tell you this, Clark, and I wouldn't say this to many men. I love you. No.
Oh,
Okay.
I pull out my notebook.
I like the cut of you, and that's why I'm going to tell you this. If anything goes bad, look at the number of us. If there's a clutch of 5 of us can put down a Martian, what can a room of 30, 40 of us manage?
I'll get killed if we're not on our toes.
I'll be on my toes. I take your advice, Clark. Believe me, I do. I'm not taking this lightly, but at the same time, we've got reason to be confident. And we're none of us striplings to this Aether business anymore. What has it been, 20 years since it first came about? I've been dabbling with this kind of thing now for over a decade. It's just a shame Tommy can't be here himself, but at the very least, it means we might get to watch a marvel at work.
I hope that you and our august and distinguished leader are right, and that this is not a very large barrel filled with half of the Aethernauts on the planet.
Well, you do have a way of putting a man on edge. I think I'll recharge my drink.
Please do. Make it a double. Just knock yourself out.
So the mingling, the light conversations go on. Quigley drags it out. He says 5 minutes is actually more like 15.
Oh God!
Before he's approaching the stage, and it is hot in here. People are drinking, but of course, most of what they're drinking is hard liquor, and that doesn't lower a body temperature as a general rule. So you encounter a few other people, of course. Some you know, some you don't. We do have, Ava, you recognize one of the novices of the Esoteric Order here in London is present. It's Loretta Forbes. She's a nurse by trade, by no means a member of high society like yourself. She introduces herself. I've seen you about the club, Ms. McGrath. It's really an honor to be in your presence. I was given the invitation as a gift, but by someone higher in the order than myself. I've got to say, I'm rather nervous about everything going on.
Oh, don't be nervous. It's a great place to meet people, rub elbows with different members of the different societies. Learn what they're up to, learn what people are inventing. This is a great educational event, so don't be nervous. Just go with the flow.
She taps her notepad. I'm sworn to take notes on everything I see, everything I hear, and so I will.
Have you gotten any good notes so far?
Well, I met someone interesting. She sat over there, Sandra Newsom, one of the students of Tesla. Apparently, she was chosen to attend this event and render its inhabitants in charcoal. She has some kind of gift, Aetherborn, to perfectly render anyone she sees at rapid speed. It's quite something to watch, better than the caricature artists that you see on Westminster Bridge. Apparently, she doesn't trust photography. That's something interesting. She told me, she says it captures the aether from within you and holds it in the frame. So she draws everybody, and it's remarkable. You should sit for a portrait if I would, if it wasn't so damn hot.
Maybe I will.
And you all at some point or other, receive a shake of the hand from another young woman, introduces herself as Estella Tox. She's more tomboyish than any of the other ladies here, to the point dressed in breeches and a tailored jacket, very masculine in wear, but she's chipper, she's young, she's plucky. Estella says, I'm a member of the students of Tesla, really excited to be here as well. Wow, what a treat. And I know this is the first time I'm getting to meet most of you. So, yes, I just want to do the rounds and say hi, hello to everybody, and, hopefully learn something. Have you heard that this invention can reverse mutation?
That's the claim.
That's the claim, yes.
Do you think it can?
No.
I mean, you don't.
Best case scenario, we watch somebody melt into their component parts on that stage here in a few minutes. Most likely.
Or whatever Magog or Gog that they have captured for this breaks free.
Freaks out. We have to.
Oh God, you think that there's a captured Magog here?
How else?
How else are you going to prove that the transformation reversal works unless you have someone that turns into a Gog or Magog on stage and then you reverse it?
I hope it's not one of Dr. Crikey. Yeah. Well, he doesn't like that name, I'm told.
Mr. Jekyll?
Dr. Jekyll's, yes. Okay. And she scurries off.
Bye.
Just rubbing the paranoia. We're just passing the paranoia around the room.
Yes. By the time Quigley finally ascends to the stage, there's a general sense of disquiet about the auditorium. Almost as if it has been spawned from your group.
No, I'm not sorry. It's like more people that are aware that this could go horribly wrong. The more likely we're not going to be like, punched in the face.
We're going to build this up and he's just going to be like, it does it. I can't prove it to you. We're just going to be like, what a fucking letdown.
No, give me your money.
This magic elixir. It's like, doesn't this smell like piss?
Put hairs on your chest.
I swear I saw this guy cutting hair over on Fleet Street the other day.
Quigley raises his hands, silently asking for your silence. The other displays in the palace draw crowds whose noise is hard to ignore, even within the Prince Leopold Hall, but the silence surrounding him seems to be enough to satisfy Quigley on the stage. Makes his way forward and lowers his hands to his sides. A thick hush falls over those nearest to you. It ripples through the crowd. Well, it would if we were following the script. There's actually a lot of murmuring and people checking over their shoulders at all times in this particular case. My dear audience, I introduce you to this year's grandest invention. Quigley's words ring out over the crowd, and he continues once the round of polite applause, halting applause, dies down. I know there are many inventors here worth your time, and I appreciate you spending yours here with me as I unveil this device. He pauses to gesture at the creation hidden beneath a satin sheet, because of course it is. With this very device, we can undo the unmitigated, easy for me to say with a mouthful of marbles, unmitigated chaos of eccentric scientists. He looks around, then pointedly upward through the glass ceiling at the sky. He squints, looking at the sun. And momentarily, I shall demonstrate it for you. I shall demonstrate it for all of you, my fine fellow Earthlings. the finest minds I could assemble at such short notice. He stops again to look up.
What kind of chairs are we sitting in?
Benches, pews, and the like.
Damn it. Okay.
Were you hoping to just launch a chair at him?
I was going to get a hand on like my chair leg because
we're at a period for steel chairs, my friend.
Well, I realize that now that I said it out loud, but I just wanted to hit. I wanted to be able to hit him with something. Because
shoe is always an acceptable projectile.
That's true.
Yes. Since time immemorial.
Are we sitting anywhere near the lady with the shoe problem?
Yes.
I would bet.
You want to steal her shoe?
If I can get one of her shoes off. Like
you are sat near Dora Cobb, the lady of the students of Tesla, who was complaining about her shoes being wobbly. And if you ask her, "Can I borrow a shoe?" "Oh yes, borrow both."
She's so drunk.
Yeah, just in case.
It's just your color.
I'll take one of them and I'll hand the other one to Brooks.
I don't think they'll fit you.
It's the best I can do on short notice.
He grins at the audience once more. He reaches under the sheet, grabbing the device. It's time. There's it's somewhat densely packed in this room. Some people are sat, such as yourself. Some others are standing, and people around you start to move as if something or someone is pushing them out of their way from the direction of the doors. There are also shouts coming from people behind you of, "Oi, what the fuck are you doing?" Except in politer language and that Victorian language. I say, steady on.
Excuse you.
Victorian Brits just all suddenly turned Cockney on us. They just, I won't.
Excuse the fuck out of me. And are people turning? You don't have to. You can keep your eyes on Quigley if you want.
That's a good question. I'm going to keep my eye on Quigley.
I turn.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my eye on Quigley and that ceiling skylight.
I'm turned to look.
And how about Christy?
Keeping my eyes on Quigley.
All right. So Eva. There is from the standing room around the pews, you can see someone is pushing through, and you're not getting the impression that people are alarmed, that they're scared. They just look like they're inconvenienced and think it's very rude that someone is pushing through and making their way to the stage at this time. Those of you who are looking at Quigley, you can see at the stage that Quigley looks up, and then something loud cracks through the air. And it takes you a moment, of course, to realize that it isn't the device hidden beneath the sheet. No, it's what you see, Brooks. It's the ceiling of the Crystal Palace, specifically the Prince Leopold Hall, where all of you currently stand. The crack is followed instantly with the sounds of shattering glass, the whoosh and smash of something hard and metal hitting scientists and embedding into the flooring. Can I ask each of you to make athletics and dexterity rolls? These are difficulty 3. Punishing.
I'm good at this one.
At least, does Brooks's danger sense come into play?
I think Brooks's danger sense will. Let's
if
have a look.
Only I didn't have integrity 3 and I
You can switch it around if you want. Switch it around. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's errata for me.
Okay.
Can I? Go ahead.
I only have one success.
One success. Okay. So let me just see. Well, yes. All you need is one success to detect immediate, directly harmful threats. So, Brooks, what that will allow you to do is you are going to be able to evade any of the falling girders yourself with that, because you can see it coming with your successful danger sense roll. Or you can stay in the way and try and assist someone else. And basically, you will still have to make an athletics roll to get out of the way. But it does mean you'll be able to assist someone else on their roll. Because I can guarantee not everyone in this group is an athlete.
Yeah, I was wondering if we could, if for the sake of this, that we could consider this like a small tactics unit with as a combat maneuver involving the team, because it's like moving everybody like a coordinated with retreat to cover. So that would give a 2 enhancement.
Yes, definitely. I love it. Do it.
All right.
So we're currently relying on Brooks to succeed on the athletics and dexterity roll here. See whether he can move everyone.
Yeah, I got 1 success otherwise, so I did not meet the difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
Does my Swift apply?
Let me check.
Because it specifically states moving from one place to another, but I don't know if like that would apply for like
when you're racing.
Right.
But I would say, you gain +1 scale for speed. So
it's 2 enhancement towards your roll. Yeah. I would say that it applies personally.
Yeah. If you have an opportunity to use edges and gifts, I suggest using them.
Yeah. All right. So of my dice, I had an 8, a 9, and a 10. I rolled the 10 again, and I got a 9.
Oh, fantastic. In that case, not only do you exceed the difficulty, you've at least purchased 1 enhancement out of all of this. So I'm going to let you choose. You're basically going to be able to get out of the way. You're going to be able to get 2 of your companions out of the way. That means one of them isn't going to move and is going to have to roll for themselves. That could be Orin with Orin Clark's swiftness. But if there is someone else who has rolled remarkably well on their athletics and dex, by all means, speak now.
Did anyone else pass?
I thought not.
Botched.
I suggest helping Neil.
So I'll help Eva and Neil get out of the way, and then Orin can use his swift to nope out of there.
Yeah.
I did make a roll and got 4 successes on the dice plus the enhancement from the scale. So I was wondering if I could spend some of those additional successes to random task the good professor in the face with this shoe.
Absolutely. I'm not even going to make you roll for that. I like the idea so much that while everyone else is diving for cover or looking up at the falling panes of glass, hoping they're not impaled, you take the time to dive to the side to avoid a falling girder and then go.
Are you going to yell something dramatic, Travis, as you're winging this shoe at him? It's time for. It's not a quip game, but I think this is a quip.
I think that actually what would be perfect for this, because I'm not used to being the center of attention, is just
suitably dramatic.
It's like the opposite of wit. Just
going for the Hank Hill special. Whoa!
Ava lets out a ladylike scream as Brooks grabs her and Neil and essentially dive rolls them all to the side.
All right. So I would say, Neil, as you're the person who's basically being dragged and the person least in control of their actions right now, could you make a technology and cunning roll, please, to identify the cause of the crash? There is a complication involved here because of all the dust that is floating around right now.
That is another botch.
Wow, Jesus. Okay.
Thanks for the momentum.
Can't see anything.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
My friend.
Fated to die, Christy. Okay. Which means Neil Christie is face to face once it happens and completely unaware of what's about to happen with what's just crashed through the ceiling. So as havoc breaks out, It's quite apparent there's a lot of injured and probably some dead about this place. Something heavy has just crashed in through the ceiling, the roof, and there's people screaming, people shouting out. There's hammering on the doors from the main auditorium. Some people are shouting out, "No, we're a secret society. We can't let them in." Some people are shouting, the wall is collapsing. We can get out that way. There's general pell-mell chaos raging around. The so-called civilized society of Aethernauts is breaking down under the first sign of drama and action, as these things often do.
Mostly academics.
Yes.
It's just like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yes. I know I can change, I can make bullets out of thin air, but I'm not used to actually being caught in a trap, which all of you warned them about.
We did.
So, Neil, as you botched, that means you are in line to get grabbed immediately. A tentacle whip snares you around both legs, and again, you botched, so I'm going to take a liberty here and say it pulls you straight down onto your back. You land on shards of broken glass and wrecked metal. Could you take a bruised condition, please?
I absolutely can.
And it starts dragging you towards it, out of the dust, in amidst the thick of the wreckage. It is quite clear that a Martian cylinder has smashed into the Crystal Palace, and coaxing its way out is a Martian orb, one of these metallic, armored Martian robotic devices, and they have grabbed your good friend, up till now anyway, Neil Christie, who doesn't seem to have luck on his side, and is so panicked he's having to hug a pet.
He's suddenly spontaneously manifested through the aether a support animal.
Hey, everyone's powers are in different realms. His just happens to be a cute, fluffy thing that's giving lots of love and affection and support.
Yeah,
makes sense.
So, as the Martian is dragging Neil Christie toward it, and people are screaming and shouting as they realize a Martian has crashed into the Crystal Palace, I'm just going to go down the line at this point and ask the actions you're taking. Neil is restrained, but you can, of course, try and break free. Alternatively, you can try and take any other actions. Do take a look at your gifts. There may be something you may be able to use, and edges. Gilbert, is there anything you want Neil Christie to be doing at this time other than being dragged to his doom?
Attempting to not be dragged to his doom, just attempting to break
Well, that's
free.
a tall order, I'm afraid, Gilbert. Okay, but if you're trying to break free, I will let you do either athletics or close combat and dexterity or might, depending on how you're trying to break free from this tentacle's grasp.
Just wriggling, trying to be as squirrely as possible, I think.
Let's go for athletics and dex then.
Not a botch, but a fail. No successes.
Neil Christie, you are dragged in halting, sudden motions toward this thing, and as you do, you see the little cone of something you've never seen it in person, but you've heard about it in the papers. The Martian invasion, as mentioned, is public knowledge, though not everyone knows it's Martians. Not everybody knows what exactly took place, but you know, because it's been all the talk of Aethernaut circles. These things have something that is referred to sometimes as a heat ray, a disruptor ray, a death ray. That's probably the most loaded term, but they're said to sprout from these sort of conical devices, and this Martian orb just springs one out and it's looking right at you. Things ain't looking good for our representative here from Her Royal Highness's Planetary Defensive Pact. So, Brooks, over to you.
All right. So it looks like I'm probably going to be using pretty damn fast and probably going to grab a pew and try to smash it into the top of this thing. Because trying to fight the tentacle monster isn't as important as smashing down the cone. But I don't have a gun, so I will use the pew. And
spend an inspiration then, please.
Yep. Spending an inspiration to move up to 2 range lands as reflexive action.
This field would normally be impeded with all kinds of wreckage, but you can move unimpeded due to the power of your gift. Avoid any complications therein. So you're trying to swing a pew. Could you go for close combat and might, please?
Yeah, I thought this would be better than him trying to punch it with his other gift of stone. It's like, I don't think hitting that with his bare flesh is a good idea.
Well, if all else fails, at least you've got that.
Yeah, I don't need skin. It'll be okay. I have an edge for that. To ignore the penalties from that one. All right, so close combat and might. All right, let's see. All right, cool. So I have, that is a 6. All right, so I have an 8 and a 10. Let's roll the 10 again, and I got a 3. So I only got the 2.
Okay. No, that's good. That's good. You swing the pew with all of your might into this extended cone, this conical death ray device, with the intent of bending it and snapping it off, making it retract, anything to prevent Neil Christie from getting a death ray between the eyes. And it makes a satisfying crunch at that. You don't think you have harmed the Martian in any meaningful way. It appears to be armored, but the weapon, the device it was going to use, well, it's not going to fire in a straight line now, that's for sure.
Oh no, I made it worse.
Now it's going to randomly.
Yes, that lovely waiter that you encountered earlier with the Victoria Sponge just strolling by.
The extra? I don't think we have that rewrite.
Okay, and moving along the line, Orin Clark. You can see all of this going on. Your shoe connected with Quigley, but now there's so much dust in the air you can't even see the stage.
I have a couple of quick questions.
Yes, quick questions about Quigley.
These will determine my course of action. Are the people that are inside, are we under a terrorized, intimidated, or taunted atmosphere?
I would suggest so, yes.
That will be my plan B, will be to spend a point of inspiration for Contain the Calamity. So, and just shout, "It's one Martian. There's like 50 of us. We can do this." But that's my plan B. My plan
Typical
A.
Americans.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Just being loud and,
I'm with the government.
Thinking I'm
here to help.
Thinking I'm being inspirational, but really I'm just kind of browbeating people until they go along with what I say. Yeah, very American. The second option would be, do I know if these Martian cylinders have weapon systems?
The cylinders sometimes do, but the cylinder itself has been left unoccupied as the orb has extracted itself.
Follow me for a second here. Tell me if this is acceptable. I have a skill trick. My skill trick is that was already mine with larceny. I'm so adept at theft that I'm nearly impossible to spot doing it, even if the item is much larger than something you palm in his hand. Spend a momentum to overcome a single complication associated with a theft, no matter the rating. I was going to try to steal the cylinder and start shooting at the Martian with its own weapons.
It's a really nice thought, and never will I be someone to stand on a player's imagination. But I would suggest it comes with a share of complications. One of which will be this is Martian technology.
Which would be the one that I would overcome with the, the skill trick.
The rest, of course, while your good companion Brooks Hare can navigate this murky field of dust and tangled metal and broken glass, you do not have that luxury. So by all means, make a larceny and dexterity roll. If you want to do it, but the difficulty is, yes, you bought off the complication. Difficulty, I'm still going to set as a 3 to get there, lift up this cylinder and point it in a vaguely threatening manner.
Will, you know what? With the eyesight situation being what it is,
you do have momentum you can spend, remember, so you can.
That's true. I'm trying to chess move it a little bit and say, like, I won't know where to point that weapon. So let's hold off on stealing the Martian cylinder, and I'm going to try to calm down everybody that's here and say, you know, it's one Martian, pull it together, and I'll spend a point of inspiration, which is all that gift requires. If anyone tries to like talk over me, they have to overcome a hostile environment equal to my reflective facet, which is a 0. So it's not going to be, they just have to get a success.
Yeah.
But
but why would they?
It should otherwise drop the atmosphere off. So people.
Yes, it means that the NPCs, speaking purely mechanically, will actually start being useful rather than just being panicked, a panicked herd that's being chased around at this time. Okay, well, in that case, that's what you do. You shout out, you bellow in your best American for everyone to calm down, for goodness sake. It's just one Martian. You Brits are supposed to be tough or something.
Where's that stiff upper lip?
No wonder we won.
Punch it and say welcome to Earth. I don't know.
No wonder we won the revolution.
I'm working on it.
But it is enough to calm. It is enough to lower this atmosphere, which was frankly terrorized down to a mild sense of, confusion, disorientation. It's nowhere near as bad as it was.
Thank you. And thank you everyone else for indulging my...
never let it be said that I would get in the way of you doing something absolutely ridiculous.
If I was playing a different character, that probably would have been my move. But I think this guy's quick enough to go, I can't see where I'm shooting that weapon. And there's a lot of people in here. So,
well, Ava McGrath, do you want to run for the Martian cylinder?
No, that's not my wheelhouse. Instead, I'm going to look for Quigley and try to find and detain him.
Oh, okay. So right now there's a lot of dust obscuring the stage. You are physically going to approach, or are you going to peer through all of that murk?
I think I'm going to physically go to the stage, because otherwise, peering through the murkiness would
doesn't get you any closer.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
Okay, well, you can get there. You've still got to pick through the wreckage, but I'm not going to make you roll for that. It just slows you a little. Sure. You do get there, and you do find Quigley. You find a couple of things, in fact. One, Quigley is laying on the stage, bleeding heavily. 2, the device from his plinth is no longer there.
Oh, good times. It is quite
clear from the amount of blood that this injury was not caused by a flying shoe.
No, somebody has murdered this man and stolen his device in the nonsense that is going on.
But everyone saw me throw the shoe. I'm in deep shit.
What about his guards?
They are rushing to deal with this Martian. It seems that as soon as this came through the ceiling, they were on it. You can see the captain making his way down the other side of the stage to you. The other bodyguards are already closing in on the Martian, which isn't just dragging Neil in, it's also grabbing hold of other scientists, inventors, and the like. Is
he still alive? Or is he very dead?
Well, let's see. You're going to kneel down. And check on him.
Yeah, I am.
Very slow pulse, bleeding profusely.
I would like to try to staunch the flow of his blood and administer first aid to him.
Okay. Go for a medicine and intellect. No, actually, I'd allow you to cunning instead, I think, because it's a quick reaction, depending on which you prefer.
Well, I'm going to use my gift Instant Expert to make myself an expert on this medical...
This emergency.
This medical emergency. I gain 2 enhancement to any action involving a skill in which I have no dots for the rest of the scene. So I'm going to choose medicine, which I have no dots in. And then I gain a single phantom dot so that I can roll with it.
Okay.
So with intellect, that is 4 dice.
And yeah, remember everybody, you've got momentum. You've currently got 2 points of momentum. So thanks to the good work of Neil Christie.
Do we not start with momentum in this game?
Well, you should, but I wasn't feeling very friendly. Yeah, all right. You can start with, I usually go for half the group size. So you've got 4 momentum.
Is it okay if I spend some momentum on this, or
Please
do y'all
do.
care? Okay.
Yeah, I blanket endorse this expenditure of momentum.
I'm going to spend 1 to get an extra die.
Okay.
Which gives me a success.
Okay.
But then I've got 3 successes with the enhancement.
Yeah. So you are able to, firstly, you're able to identify where he's bleeding from. It appears there is a very nasty wound that is clean through his back and through his front as well. So something sharp has penetrated him, you think, and in fact, because you've got effectively 4 successes here, I'll go into some detail. It looks to you like an edged weapon has sliced through him, and in a pretty clean motion. And judging from the amount of blood that's flowing here, even with your medical expertise, you can make a safe guess that this has gone through his heart.
Right.
This isn't going to be something probably even fixable in a hospital, quite frankly. It is 1895.
Right.
But I'm not going to cheat you out of your successes. It does mean you can bring him around to consciousness out of his pre-death shock. And basically ask the delirious dying man questions if you wish. So we'll get onto that interrogation momentarily. We'll go back to the start. Neil, you hear as a vaporous green ray fires from the Martian's conical laser and misses you. I'm not going to say that it makes someone else go, "Ah!" and kills them, because that would be very harsh on Brooks, who so valiantly swung that pew. But Neil, you are a whisker away from death.
Indeed.
It immediately produces a replacement. These Martians are industrious in the extreme, and drags you even closer. The armor opens up in a lovely sort of flower, allowing you to see a little more of the Martian than perhaps you would like. You're grabbed currently by a metallic tendril. The insides of this orb are not. They are gelatinous, goopy, tendrillous, and they are opening up for you to swallow you inside. Neil Christie, tell me what you're doing other than screaming or saying a prayer. I mean, you could do that.
I think wriggling away isn't going to be the move, I think. But I think if it's exposing itself and kind of opening up to me, I think I'm going to take a flailing hit at it.
Yeah. Remember, you've still got momentum. So by all means, use it.
There's like glass around. There's pews.
Yeah.
There's
Use your environment for enhancements. Grab a broken shard of glass, a bent piece of metal.
I would love to grab a shard of glass and stab at it.
I would hasten to add for the audience, Neil Christie's expertise is in enigmas and humanities, really. So really the worst character in this case to have got 2 botches in a row.
like there's metal bars from the canopy. I'd probably grab that before the glass.
True.
Give you more of a reach, so you're not like
up
close
right
and personal,
up on it,
putting your fist into the goo to stab it.
Excellent point.
I like the idea that Brooks is there giving like a coach's advice, saying, "This is what you want to do, kid. You want to grab some raw metal," despite the fact he's being dragged inch by inch to this thing.
Grab the metal bar and
remain
stab
calm.
it.
Don't look it in the eye. Yes, I'm going to grab a piece of metal and try to stab it.
All right, then. So you can... Your traits are awful for this, aren't they? I was going to say close combat and might. That gives you 1 die.
Yes. I would love to ask if I could spend momentum for this. Leaving it to the group of how much exactly.
I think, I mean, if you want to spend it all,
shoot the rail, man. Shoot the rail.
I'm there for you.
Yeah, you'll get more failures.
I want you to live, man.
We'll get more failures.
Let's survive the initial encounter.
I never like being that guy that takes all the momentum, but I think I'm going to have to in this case, and in which case I do apologize. I'll take the what is it? We have 3 remaining, correct?
3 remaining,
yes.
Yeah.
So you'll have 4 dice. I mean, now would be an excellent time to use your photographic memory edge. No, I'm joking.
I mean, if you can remember the exact outlay of those gooey Martian, never mind.
This will keep me up at night for years.
Well, unless he can, unfortunately, it's not like going to be a stacked, because if he could use like the enigmas and stuff to figure out where the weak spot of this thing is, that would make it
that's
easier
the
for him
kind
to
of
stab.
creative, kind of creative thinking that I like. If you want to, I'll let you make 2 rolls, Gilbert. If you want to do an enigmas and intellect first to see whether you can detect a weak spot, let's say, then along with your consolidated momentum, I will add more than the 1 enhancement you have for a twisted piece of metal that you're swinging. So go for that first. Enigmas and intellect.
Because your society specifically is against fighting these things. So that makes...
that is 3 successes on the intellect enigmas roll.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so this is what you were waiting for. This is your time.
I was built to be a victim.
You were built to be a researcher, and what better place to research than in the jaws of the lion? And this so happens to be where you are. As you're being dragged inexorably towards your death, you are able to examine the Martian and pick out where you think some of those bulbous orbs are either tumors or eyes. No, you think they're eyes. It's just difficult to tell because they are the exact same color as the skin surrounding them. There's no pupil, there's no white, but they shift, they tilt, they twitch a little like opticals may do. And you think, well, any creature in God's great kingdom reacts poorly to being stabbed in the eyeball.
Excellent. And then I will make the roll to stab it in one of its eyes.
Yeah, so you have got 4 dice and 2 enhancements on this. 1 from the fact that you know where its weak spot is, 1 from the fact that you are wielding a jagged piece of metal.
That is 2 successes. Material.
There we go. Well, I'm going to let you choose then. Do you want to spend one of those successes to essentially increase the damage or to blind the Martian?
I would love to blind the Martian.
Okay. All right. Well, effectively, you're inflicting a condition on it. So, you drag the jagged metal across the thing's face. It lets out a screaming, "Oh, la!" because that's the noise Martians make, as you cut into it, and what you assume is the Martian equivalent of vitreous fluid runs down its fleshy mass and onto the dusty floor. It doesn't let go. You've angered it, but you also blinded it. So, potato, swings roundabouts. Behind every silver lining, there's a bloody great cloud.
Just can't help but smile over at Brooks. I did it.
Good job, buddy.
You didn't die in vain.
You're still alive. It's good. We're good.
Yeah. Brooks, you're there hefting a wooden pew. You witness this happening. The guards are now surrounding the Martian as well. You don't think there's going to be long before you've all, as a group, taken this thing out. But what do you want to do?
Let's see. Since we have another cone, so it can still. It's blind, so it firing now is even worse than before. Otherwise, it's like trying to smash the gigantic pew into the blinded Martian now is the other course. So it's a giant wooden stake. Why not?
Well, essentially, you can assume other Aethenauts present, now that they've calmed down as a result of Orin's work, are able to grab the other end of the pew. So you can use it as a great battering ram if you want. So it isn't literally one man hefting a pew, and that's quite tricky. So yeah, you can do that without any complications or penalties. But yeah, if you want to specifically target this death ray device as last time, you can do that.
Okay.
Take out its armory.
Yeah, let's whack it. Again, it's like, hey, we have a group of people. It's a big combat maneuver. So,
okay,
it's like, aha. Let's try to break this death ray and hope that it doesn't have more.
5 more spring out. It's a Hydra. Could you do a close combat and might?
All right.
The Martian Hydra, the rare Martian Hydra.
Yes, the best.
All right,
kind.
I have 2 8s.
2 8s. Okay, well, that's wonderful. Given the fact that the Martian is very much at disadvantage right now, given that it can't see this pew coming, and it does have sensors, but there's so much going on right now, it doesn't pick up the swooping wood of this material as you smack off another death ray. This one actually shears off.
Aha.
So back to Orin.
Okay. Continuing along the vein of trying to use thievery for things it's not actually intended for. Is there a way that I can snatch my friend from the tentacles of this mean green mother from outer space? Or
you want to use thievery to abduct someone from Martian?
I would like to steal him. I would like to pickpocket this Martian, except it's not a pocket, it's a tentacle, and it's my friend, not a coin.
Well, I feel like I was too harsh on you last time with your ludicrous plan. So I'll let you use it. I'll let you try and use your larceny, or what
do we have,
gift are you looking at here?
Do we have any momentum left? If we do, I would. Okay. It
all of it's gone.
Doesn't matter. It was a skill trick I was going to use, but I'll just rely on my ability to yoink things unaided by skill tricks. So maybe like a larceny dex. Is that?
Yes, I think that's fair. Yeah, that's a lot of dice for you. I like the fact that your skill trick that was already mine. Apparently Neil Christie and Orin Clark have got a relationship we were unaware of. Tentacles off, he's mine.
Don't touch my man. That could have gone better.
Oh no.
But it could have gone worse. I got 1 success.
All right. Well, I'm going to roll in to contest that. So let me see. Okay, then. So you are successful. The Martian, in its panic at being blinded, does let go of Neil. It's still attached to others, still grabbing hold, choking other Aethernauts, but you have rescued this member of HRHPDP.
Are any of the other ones that it's got a hold of my buddy that I warned about that was the other Edison guy?
I'll let you make a quick survey of the place. Actually, I'm not going to make you roll for it. You can see that he is partly buried under some of the rubble. He isn't being restrained by the Martian.
All right. Well, the rest of them can fend for themselves then. That's
the Edison way.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
You're a true unwinder.
I've got my friend and the paycheck guy. That's all I need. So I'm going to drag Neil as far away from these flopping tentacles as possible.
All right. And Ava McGrath. Oh, you're muted right now.
Yes. I am going to try to pump this dying man for information.
Yeah, I don't recommend literally doing chest compressions right now. Will only speed up his demise.
No. The metaphorical pumping for information.
He reaches up at you. I'm dying.
Yes, I can see that. Who did this to you? I can see. It's
it's really bad. I think I smell almonds.
Who did this to you?
Treachery. The guards. I was stabbed from behind. Those earthling bastards.
Oh my God. I don't have any compunction about feeling sad that you're going to die here, Martian sympathizer. But where's your device?
Stolen. It was stolen while I was I was run through, and he tries to reach to his back.
No, don't do that. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
As I was being run through, I noticed there was another a young boy, a young man grabbing it, and I grabbed him, and I got this. And he opens his bloody palm, and there's a cufflink, a broken off cufflink in his hand.
Okay.
But they didn't stop. He didn't help me. He just stole my device.
Well,
I think I'm ready to go to Mars now.
Well, you're going to go somewhere.
Somewhere red. I'll give you one more question if you want one, and then he is going to expire.
Okay. What does your device really do?
It calls them down. And he dies.
Okay. All right.
I told you it was a trap.
We all knew.
Yeah. It quickly wasn't the most subtle. Anyone with half a brain would have left that place before it all went off. But, if you had,
we're here.
You wouldn't have been able to save people.
Yeah.
The chaos grinds down as the people who can fight do. Some have escaped. Others do take it to the Martian at this point. Only one was called down. And quite as Oren said, one Martian against however many, a score of active Aethernauts. Ultimately, no big deal. Well, I say no big deal. It's more the damage from the falling debris, the environment imploding on people here that has really done the harm. Once the Martian is subdued, the guards put it to the sword, and no one lets off a firearm despite the fact they are here because, again, we don't want to draw too much attention. It's an irrelevance to want subtlety. There are people peering in from outside at this point. They want to know what all the chaos is about. You can hear the blowing of whistles from across the Crystal Park. Obviously, there's police officers who are going to get involved. So some Aethernauts are taking this as their opportunity to get out. But there may be more to investigate here. or you may want to get out while you can. I leave it to the four of you. Now that, Neil, you're back onto your feet, although bruised, your ribs feel as if they may be cracked. What are the four of you doing, assuming you are sticking together?
Somebody's stolen his device, and his device calls Martians.
Yeah.
So
I thought it might.
We should find who stole the device.
Probably a good idea.
That's our top priority. I'm going to guess that person is not just hanging out.
Do we have anything to go on?
I produced this cufflink. I don't know if anybody can. It's covered in blood. Hold on.
I'll look over real quick. Is my friend still buried?
Yes.
Hold that thought. I'm gonna run over and start digging.
And then you check his cuffs. No, not him.
Wasn't him.
Put the girder back down on him.
Yeah, drop
set stuff back on it. Rebury him.
It's dead man's boots and Edison's unwinders. I'm going up the ladder.
No, I'll run over and dig him out real quick.
He's dead, unfortunately.
Oh, well, I'll stop.
There's nothing you can do for him.
Once I realize that, I'll stop digging.
Yeah. Sadly, August Murdstone has been nullified. As all the smoke is clearing, the dust is parting ways. The number of the dead, it isn't staggeringly high. It's 8 or 9. It's still a tragedy, of course. There's far more people wounded, mostly light injuries, but anyone caught under a hailstorm of falling glass is likely to come away with some cuts and nicks. And you can see Loretta Forbes, the novice from the Esoteric Order, is helping people where she can. There's various rescue operations being participated in, lifting the metal off of people buried underneath it and saving them where they can. But yes, Danielle, you were suggesting that you need to get after this thief. Let's take a quick break, as was pre-recorded anyway, so we can
blink your eyes and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. See, I told you just blink and we're back.
As if we never went away. The power of ether. Where last we left, of course, we barely left. The dust had settled. The Martian is no more. Many of the Aethenauts have gone, and we have a dead Quigley on stage. Protagonists, you probably have a short amount of time, a matter of 5-10 minutes at most, before the police start getting involved. But the very facts of the matter is that if there's Martians in play, and unless someone is going to smuggle this cylinder out, the military are going to be invoked. The good news is Her Majesty's or Her Royal Highness's Planetary Defensive Pact, while being an Aether society, is also a legitimate branch of the British military. It doesn't advertise its Aethanaut side, but that does mean that at least one of you has got a reason for being here, the one with the bruised ribs.
I was going to say, do we have knowledge that at least one of us has a connection to the government?
Yeah.
So, and
Ava does, through the fact that she is a socialite and aristocrat.
And am I aware of Neil's photographic memory?
What do you think, Gilbert?
I think that after working together a couple times, or even just interaction, it probably would have become a little bit more, probably would have become clear at some point.
Because what I would like to recommend is you run around and look real close at everything around there and just memorize every detail you can. And I would like to run over what's her face with the charcoal is still here, right?
Good question. Very good question. Okay, Neil, are you happy to basically look around and take everything in?
Oh yes, that was the initial plan as well. Taking everything in before the military comes in and gets their grubby hands on it.
And if an expenditure of an inspiration for dramatic editing would make it more likely that I catch her on the way out the door, I would happily spend it. Because my intent is to say, I heard you have a wonderful gift for art, and I have a friend who's getting a lot of details we're going to need rendered. If he describes them, would you be able to draw them?
Well, it's very funny that you should ask after Sandra Newsom, the artist. She was badly injured in the collapse. It seems anyone you look for, Orin, is badly injured or dead. She was pretty much directly under where the Martian cylinder landed, crashed, and has been pulled free, but both her legs were crushed. She is still conscious, yes, but again, despite the marvels of AETHER medicine and surgery, the 19th century is not the best time to have both legs injured in a crushing accident.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, it's still not pretty good these days either. But she is conscious. She is being supported by Dora, the nurse.
Well, she's probably can you draw still? No, you know what? Never mind. I'll find somebody. I'll go hire one of those caricature artists over on the boulevard. Don't worry about it. Rest. Keep your feet up. Keep them elevated. That's good.
Does anyone have a gift or aether-driven healing power that is noted on their sheet? It's quite possible you do not, but if anyone does.
No.
I got
only for monologuing. Or for me to ignore complications.
Okay. In that case, if anyone would like to try speaking to her and pulling her from what is ultimately a state of some delirium and panic, they can make a command or persuasion plus presence roll to basically be a central figure in her eye line.
I could try. Unless you want to do it.
Well, I have But Before I Die as a gift, which isn't quite what this is for, but it does provoke someone into monologuing their plans, buying time. So, I think
that's a very good use.
Okay.
Oh wow! Right. Yeah. So
command and manipulation, which is 4 and 3. All right, so I'll spend an inspiration, and then we'll get her to ignore the excruciating pain, so we can talk to her.
Okay.
Interrogate her, whatever. All right. Oh, okay. So I have 2 9s and an 8.
Very nice. Very nice. And in fact, I had actually written here difficulty 3 due to the severity of her injury. So just as well, really. She focuses on you and she doesn't speak, but she hands over a sketch that she was clutching to her chest. The last thing that she was drawing before she just got buried. It illustrates Quigley on stage, a hunched over abomination of a humanoid grabbing at his device as a sword protrudes from his front. So through the back and out the front. The thief and the sword wielder are not the same individual, with the attacker being positioned directly behind Quigley and therefore unidentifiable. The thief looks like the kind of mutated human that Aethnauts such as yourself have taken to calling dreadfuls or magogs.
Was the magog wearing cuffs?
Yeah, it's wearing a split suit, an expensive-looking jacket, gentleman's breeches outfit, but it looks like it barely fits inside. Like it's mutating and changing as it grabs for the device.
So we're looking for a squid person in a suit.
During
Or
my
a bodybuilder flexing.
Or a bodybuilder flexing. Or a squid builder. A body squid. A squid. What do you call a squid bodybuilder? That's not a joke.
The
There's no
Magogs
punchline.
can't look human ever, right?
Not well, they sometimes can. It depends on how much control they have. It's more likely, however, it's a Gog who has gone too far down the path of deviation and is essentially losing control of their form.
Okay. So so that's the last thing she was sketching. Can I ask to see her other sketches?
She points with a faltering hand at a pile that's mostly buried, but you can retrieve them.
Yeah.
While you're looking, though, Gilbert, you were speaking up to say you wanted to do something as Neil.
Yes, while sort of taking everything in using photographic memory, would it be possible to use plot twist, spending an inspiration, not to impose complication, but to provide an enhancement, gain the character's reflective facet as enhancement to solve the puzzle themselves, figuring out who exactly took the device, who we should be looking for.
Oh.
Okay, so yeah, putting 2 and 2 together essentially. So yeah, I'm going to say that it's almost montage-like in its they came from-ish style. But as Eva is looking through these sketches and Neil is looking around the crowd and looking at the wreckage, looking up at where Quigley was, remembering that someone was pushing through the crowd just before everything broke loose. Could I ask for you to make an Enigmas and Intellect roll, please, Gilbert?
Absolutely.
You've got your enhancements.
That will be 3 successes.
Oh, very nice. Very nice indeed. And I think with those enhancements as well, this is going to afford you a core clue without any difficulty whatsoever. Namely, that you're able to piece together some of the people you met, some of the things you saw, what's depicted in the sketch. The sketches themselves aren't clear on their own. They don't depict anyone transforming as such. One would presume Sandra Newsom would have pointed that out if she'd seen it. Mm-hmm. But you do identify some of the same apparel, clothing, costuming from one person to the next. You think the young woman, Estella Tox, who you encountered, the tomboyish young student of Tesla, she introduced herself as, was wearing the same outfit. And due to the sheer number of successes you got there and your enhancements, I would go so far as to say you can even recognize in the quality of the sketch by Sandra Newsom some of the same facial features from her to the charcoal rendering of this dreadful that's stealing the device.
Understood.
I'm going to give you one more thing as well, Gilbert. You got your 2 enhancements there, didn't you? And so you got 3 successes. So I'm going to give you one more thing. You can make out quite clearly from the sketch, and it isn't the first thing that someone would naturally look for, but you can make it out clearly. The shape of the blade making its way through Quigley's chest is identical to that of an army saber. It's highly unlikely that the attacker was anyone other than his own personal bodyguard. No one else would have a weapon like that.
Understood. I will share this information as I come to this conclusion.
Do you think the colonel did it? was colonel, right?
It was captain.
Yeah, captain.
Oh, captain.
Captain.
Do you think the captain did it?
Well, I think if you found out that the person you were guarding was summoning a Martian,
Yeah, it seems.
I think that's a bit of a fair thing.
Not faulting him for it at all. I've got cracked ribs that, in fact, I think I'd buy him a pint.
I just try to kill that dude with a shoe. So
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not saying that that's at fault. Just maybe there was more going on with that, with his taking of the commission than we thought.
Should see if he knows Estella at all as well.
Right. Not the same person, but might have been working together.
that's a good call. That's you.
Go have a
You're
conversation.
wicked smart. It's very smart.
The captain is actually still at the scene, Captain Randawa. He is still present with the other members of HRH PDP. When they see Neil is up and about, albeit clutching his chest, they all, they greet you. They're very pleased to see that you're still well and alive. Brooks, you get another salute. Good to see another soldier pulled through. And we saw what you did down there as well. Valiant stuff. You make the Queen proud, Lieutenant.
Captain.
Listen, I'm sure the Bobbies will be here soon, along with more of our society. So if you want to take this opportunity to leave, I think everyone that can be rescued has been. This is Captain.
Love to take the opportunity to get in touch with you and your men, Captain. I have some personal questions as I was in the thick of things.
Well, we have a club, of course, 1205 Club. I'm sure we can attend there later today after the fires have died down, as they say. I'm sure you have a membership. I can't speak for your friends.
Indeed.
But you can invite a guest.
And you can be sure that I'll be doing so. But if I could just get the names of the men that were present for the time being, if that would be quite all right. This is, of course, off the record from my own personal.
He clamps up at that and all but folds his arms and puffs his chest out, says, "You're not a military man, are you, Christie?"
No, Captain, I can't say I am.
Well, in that case, you don't get to ask for the names or numbers of my men. This is right now an operation for the HRH PDP. You're a researcher, a good one, respected. I respect you, but at the same time, I'm not divulging information that could attach them to this disaster.
Completely understood. And I meant no offense, Captain. I apologize for
Good,
what
of
was
course.
taken.
No, I didn't take any offense. I'm just making it clear that in crises like this, civilians and military need to remain distinct, retired even as I may be. Still, if you wish to speak to me off the record, away from this scene, as I say, the 1205 Club.
Understood. I'll see you there, Captain.
I do like the sound of away from this scene.
Yes.
Anyone resisting? Anyone else hanging around? Or are you all happy to depart the Crystal Palace?
No, if we've got...
Yeah. This character's not an investigator, so he's just like, I punched the thing. I defeated a Martian.
Theoretically, what we have between those sketches and what's in Neil's dome should be sufficient for us to conduct any further investigations. So,
unless unless the death ray cone is helpful, can yoink that before we leave.
I mean, if there's anything that would fit reasonably in the palm of a hand that might be helpful to us, I will certainly grab it on my way through.
You can definitely grab the detached death ray cone, not the bent one.
I'll probably do that. And then just a little bit of Caspering my way through people's drinks on the way out the door. Casper at the end of Kids when he's walking around just drinking on everybody's like 40s.
Yeah, real respectable gentleman,
Right,
Oren Clark.
Just being as American as I can be.
I'm ashamed to say I've been that person.
Have you finished that pint? No. Okay. So for anyone viewing, this is just a bit of peripheral cruft, but I'll give it to you anyway. Devices like the Martian's death ray can, of course, be utilized, jury-rigged, as it were, in this game as gear, as these things can be in Trinity Continuum games in general. It also makes for a fantastic focus for a piece of apparatus should a character decide to go down the route of becoming a GOG, where squires, these characters, rely on Aether to supplement their powers as almost twisting fate, luck, enhancing skills more than anything else. GOGs can, as if using a magic wand or Rube Goldberg machine, start manipulating reality around them, but they need an apparatus in order to do so. Something like a death ray, or at least the firing mechanism, is a wonderful little piece of foci for that purpose. If you wanted to send your character down the path of losing their grip on humanity, but it's always fun to do that kind of thing. So, Oren Clark, you are being watched. But yes, you take the death ray and you all skedaddle from Crystal Palace just as the boys in blue start wandering in with their truncheons, and shortly followed by more members of Her Royal Highness's Planetary Defensive Pact, who quickly secure the scene and say, this is for us and not for the newspapers. So we will terminate our first session there. We will end with the crisis in Crystal Palace abated, with various leads opening up before our group. They have Captain Randawa, they have Estella Tox, they have the case of this missing device, and they have the curious death of the irregular inventor in the situation of Quigley's demise. What they choose to look into as order of priority is entirely up to them, but we shall see what that happens to be in the next session. So what I would ask is any viewers who watch this, because we'll probably put this up before we record our next session, do say in the comments if there is anything in particular you want us to explore as players, as story guide, whether it's within the world of Trinity Continuum Aether or just within the plot itself. We're not at all opposed to audience participation. So if there's something you want us to do, providing it's not too ridiculous, although we've set the bar pretty low.
Yes, we buried it, in fact.
Just say so and we will be happy to entertain. But thank you very much. Thank you, first of all, to all my players, to Gilbert, Kim, Travis, Danielle. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your days or evenings to participate in this game. To the audience, thank you very much for watching, and I do hope this has been entertaining. And do check out Aether on Kickstarter. It's going live on the 19th, so if this session isn't up by then, it will be soon, shortly after, I imagine. So yeah, check out that Kickstarter, give us your backing, show us your support, and good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night.